We've had an exciting, informative morning already, thanks to Jeff and to Linda. But now we want to hear from you about what you're doing at your colleges and what we can expect to see over the next year. And there's a microphone lying in front of you, and we're going to pass the mic. We're going to play Pass the Mic. So we're going to start off with Algonquin College, and this is Jody Buchholz.
That's pretty good. Thank
pretty
you.
Good. Thank
Jody
you.
Buchholz, yes.
Welcome,
Congratulations.
Jody. I wanted to tell everyone that you have 4 new facilities apparently at your college on 3 campuses. Wow, lots going on there for you, and a number of new programs starting this fall. Can you tell us about them?
I can, thank you. Yes, so we have 4 new facilities, as you said, between our 3 campuses. First of which being our Perth campus has a brand new facility, so completely new building that they've moved into now. At our Ottawa campus, which is our largest, we do have a new trades building, which is worth $80 million. It's a platinum LEED standard building, so it's completely environmentally sound. And we also have our new student commons that has opened this year in Ottawa. It's a $52 million building where all of the student support services are housed, so it's a one-stop shop. And we consider it to be a social hub because we do have a 600-seat theater there, so it's a very, very beautiful building. And lastly, our Pembroke campus, which is our second largest campus, has a brand new campus as well, so $36 million right on the Ottawa River, which we're very, very proud of. And if you flip to page 5 and 6 in your book, in your dialogue book, you'll note that we do have a number of new programs, including the mobile and social media management, environmental management and assessment. We have a new bachelor degree. As was stated before, colleges are definitely implementing a lot more bachelor degrees. So we have our Bachelor of Building Sciences, and we also have a manufacturing engineer technician, and then lastly, a brand new apprenticeship in an instrumentation and control technician. So lots of growth at Algonquin College this year. We are considered the largest college in Eastern Ontario. We do house 18,000 full-time students between our 3 campuses. Our Ottawa campus is the only one with a residence at this time that has 1,050 beds, and it is considered first come, first serve. We have 180 programs between our 3 campuses. Our Perth campus, which I mentioned earlier, is our smallest campus, 250 to 300 full-time students, and it specializes in heritage trades. And it does have the Mike Holmes seal of approval there as well, with a scholarship. We have our outdoor programs and environmental programs at our Pembroke campus that has about 1,000 full-time students, a natural destination for that with it being on the Ottawa River and so close to Algonquin Park. And then, of course, our Ottawa campus specializes in variety. Lots and lots of programs there between all of our different facilities. We are moving to a new initiative this year, which is called the Mobile Learning Initiative, where almost 100% of our programs are required to either have a laptop, a tablet, or a smartphone of sorts. So we are asking that students do hold off on buying any new technology until they wait and hear exactly what's needed for their programs. As an example, our music industry arts program does require a MacBook Pro specifically for certain software. With that, students have also access to $3,500 worth of software, including the Adobe Creative Suite, lynda.com for tutorials, as well as the Microsoft Office suite. So they get that while they're on campus, and they get to continue to use it once they've graduated with us as well. And this will help them be aware, too, that they have the opportunity to have e-textbooks with this new mobile learning initiative. We all also are moving towards the new trend of offering online programming. So we have a number of programs that you can complete your first year online, including community and justice services, child and youth worker, and fitness and health promotion. So it does help those students who can't commit to full-time learning on campus. We are also pledged to have 100% placement co-op rates by 2015. So we're very, very excited about that. And lastly, it's very important, this is our message from our registrar's office, very important for students to be aware of all those prerequisite and non-academic admission requirements and have that plan B in place.
That's a really good point, isn't it?
It is, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jody. Joining us next to speak a little bit about Durham College is Trevor Greenall. That's right. I got that
correct.
one right.
You got
okay,
it.
good. So I hear that The Innovation Center for Food Building is opening up its doors this fall. So can you tell us about that?
We're actually really excited about that. We actually have a new building right on our Whitby campus. We have two campuses, main campuses at Oshawa and Whitby. The Center for Food Building will be completed for this September 2013, and it'll be focusing on, obviously, hospitality, tourism, culinary management programs, as well as food and agriculture programs as well. So it'll be hosting about 900 full-time students within inside that building, and we need a place to put them, so that will be the spot, and it'll give them a lot of practical training within inside that environment. Green certified, fully functioning restaurants and lounge, with also opportunities for organizations to have their professional development opportunities held on campus, which then again gives those students the opportunity to have that practical training within inside that building. Some other main differences is that we also have some other learning sites. We have a Pickering learning site, which is mainly geared for our postgraduate students, just seeking further education. We have about 130 programs now, so every year we're increasing in size. We have about 9,000 full-time students, or over 9,000, which makes it a medium-sized institution within inside Ontario colleges. But with a benefit and focus that it offers still that small classroom environment with delivering diversity and culture within inside the institution as well. Our programs can range from arts, design, computers, business, health, hospitality, science, technology, skilled trades, and apprenticeships. So there's a lot to choose from, and that does make it overwhelming for a lot of students to select any institution. But we try to establish unique fundamental programs. So if you have students inside your high school graduating and not too sure, like other institutions, we have fundamental programs. So for example, if students aren't too sure if they want to go into firefighting, paramedic, police foundations, they can choose fundamental programs, which gives them kind of a flavor before they jump in with 2 feet. We also offer unique programs, new programs of architecture, technician and technology, broadcasting, as I mentioned, culinary management, occupational and physiotherapy assistant, as well as special events planning, which would then also be held at our Center for Food Building, giving them that practical training. Also, as your president was mentioning, we have many pathways throughout Ontario and Canada to connect students with completing into degree opportunities. Durham College is actually establishing in our strategic plan the opportunity for students to even begin in an apprenticeship and continue on and merge in different connective opportunities into a PhD connection. So a seamless transition that allows them to foster their education with simply one institution as a beginning breeding ground for that. For many of you that don't know, we also share our campus with the University of Ontario Institute of Technology. And with that unique institution, we can connect to about 15 articulated programs that are again established at one institution. The unique benefit of that is that for many students, their grade point average tends to remain quite strong, sharing and starting in one campus and finishing on one campus and transferring from a college to a university program. So that's an additional benefit. I'll also end with our services. Some are new. We actually offer first generation service, and this is for students that their family members none of them have graduated from college or university before, and this is more of a service opportunity to give them those student self-management strategies. So again, if you have those students that are struggling, we have many different services that can kind of assist with their success academically, but also emotionally, physically, financially, all those aspects to make sure that they retain in the institution and remain strong successfully.
Fantastic. Thank you, Trevor. Laura Gunning is from Fleming College, and you have a new certificate program that you would like to talk about.
Yes, we do. Thank you, June. So I wanted to draw your attention to the Human Services Foundation program. This is a new program that we're adding to our list of 13 certificates that are available for workplace level graduates. So students who are graduating with workplace level credits, it does not matter if they have workplace English and math, there is a list of 13 programs that they can complete at Fleming, and then they can enter the workplace or they can continue on to diploma programs. So I have a blue sheet at my table there at the back where you can get information on this. So the Human Services Foundation program is a 2-semester program, and upon completion of this program, successful completion of this program, students can apply to the 2nd semester of the Child and Youth Worker program, Social Service Worker, developmental service worker, drug and alcohol counselor, community justice services, or police foundations. The other interesting program that we have for workplace level students or college-bound students is the Blasting Techniques program. This is a unique program. There is no other program like it in Canada. It's 8 months, and they do deal with explosives, so that generally gets them quite excited. But they do, obviously there's a background requirement, a police check, of course. But the Blasting Techniques program does lead to very good employment, and if they finish that program and they're successful in it, then they can move right into the second semester of resources drilling and blasting. So these programs, we're seeing that students have almost 100% employment rate upon completion of blasting techniques or resources drilling and blasting. So if you want to know more about these workplace programs, I'll be happy to talk to you about them later. The other program that I wanted to draw your attention to, and is just to touch upon how my other colleagues, as well as the president of Sheridan, was talking about pathways. So we do have a program called University Transfer. It's not new, it's been around for about 6 years, but what is new to it this year is that our partnership with Trent University, students do it for 8 months at Fleming, the university transfer, and it is equivalent to a full first year at Trent. So they're coming out with 5 full first-year courses, and then they can continue on to a Bachelor of Arts. A lot of them tend to go into psychology and teachers college if that's what they want to do, but we also have a history of students going into master's programs and PhD programs with them. That's not to say that they cannot pursue a BSc, a Bachelor of Science, but there might be some, the 5 first credits may be considered their electives. Further on to the pathway programs, we have our urban forestry technician program now is a co-op 2+2 model with the University of New Brunswick. And that's in addition to our ecological restoration program that's also a 2+2 model. So this trend of pathways is across the college, and I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Our Visual and Creative Arts diploma program, it's out of our Haliburton campus, our School of the Arts. And upon completion of this program, students can go right into 3rd year of a Bachelor of Fine Arts at Emily Carr University in Vancouver. Wow. And the last thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is our upcoming Kawartha Trades and Technology Center. It's an 87,000 square foot facility that will be open in the fall of 2014. And for those of you who may not know much about Fleming or where we're located, we're a medium-sized college, 6,000 full-time students. Our main campuses are in Peterborough and Lindsay for our environmental programs. As I mentioned, we have our Haliburton School of the Arts in Haliburton, and we have a small campus in Cobourg where our esthetician program runs from. So we are medium-sized, very friendly, I would like to add to that. And I would be happy to answer any questions after.
Oh, wonderful. That's amazing. So much going on. You're hearing the theme here. New buildings, new programs, pathways with universities, collaboration. It's really, really exciting and dynamic. I think it's obvious that the college system is really evolving. Greta Barnwell is from Loyalist College, and here's another flavor, another dimension of what college education can bring you with what's happening at your college, for example. I understand there's a tuition and bursaries incentive program in place for the Weston Foundation Fellowship Program. Am I getting this right?
You are getting this right, absolutely. The Garfield Weston Foundation has introduced a 3-year pilot program with Loyalist College to provide financial support to our students coming into apprenticeships and skilled trades. And it is an absolutely fantastic opportunity for those students who have that interest, in that it's going to offer both tuition and bursary incentives. Over the next 3 years, the Garfield Weston Foundation has committed over $200,000 to this project. And if you have students that are looking at coming into Loyalist College to any of the skills or apprenticeship programs with us, I encourage you to pick up the information that I do have at my booth, because we're going to need to get that paperwork filled in by June 1st to give that first group of students that opportunity. But it is a spectacular opportunity in a field where we all know there is a desperate need. So students, the project was really created with the idea to encourage students to go beyond a single certificate, 1-year certificate, into a 2-year diploma and to complete out apprenticeships. So that money is obviously going to help them be able to do that. And based on that simple idea that that's what industry is looking for, those completion and 2-year programs, both of our construction, renovation, and welding programs, welding and fabrication programs, to date have been 1-year certificates at Loyalist, but new this year we've moved them both up to 2 years. So both of those programs are new in 1-year, or rather 2-year options, as well as keep remaining with the 1-year option for us. New to us as well, we've got our fundraising development, human resources management, and sports and entertainment sales and marketing. And I do mention that because those are postgraduate programs. But sports, entertainment, sales, and marketing sounds really cool. And we keep having your students apply. And they're postgraduate programs. So just a word to the wise that as cool as it is, they're going to need a diploma or a degree to get into those first. So please give them the heads up on that one. And it's less calls to Ontario colleges asking them to change things. Also a spectacular program for us is our Trent University Loyalist College journalism program. And it's actually a collaborative program where students are going to be spending time at Trent University as well as Loyalist College. And in 4 or 5 years, depending on the program that they ultimately choose to go with, those students will get a 3-year advanced diploma in journalism, online print and broadcast, as well as their degree at Trent. And it's a spectacular opportunity to combine those 2 fields of study for them, both the university and the college, and walk away with an amazing tool belt of information and, potential employment for them. And based on that, we have our new integrated newsroom. It's being built right now. Loyalist College, over the course of the many years that I've been there as both a student, a graduate, and an employee, something that has always impressed me is that the faculty know what they're teaching because they lived what they're teaching. So they're coming from industry, they have those connections, they bring them to the college, and they say, look, we need this. And the integrated newsroom for us is one of those examples. So that's bringing together all of our different media programs to really work and play in an environment that reflects what it's like in industry. Loyalist does have absolutely residents on campus, and for a lot of your students, it's a perfect distance. Far enough away from home that it's away from home, but close enough to be able to go home, hop on the train, hop on the bus. We're only a couple hours away, so it's really a nice distance for them to have that opportunity away from home, but still get home for, Thanksgiving and to shop in the parents' cupboards, as it were. So there's some great opportunities out there. I encourage all of you to come and visit if you can over the summer. I will be there. I will be more than happy to give you a tour.
Thanks, Greta. I think that's a really, really important point that you made about faculty. They lived it. They worked whatever it is that they're teaching. They've worked in it. That's important to the students. I find that they always seem to really enjoy personal stories from faculty that know what it's like to do whatever it is that they're learning. Robin Penrose is from St. Lawrence College. And you're going to talk about the fact that, you're in cottage country. That's awesome in itself. But you're close to Ottawa, Montreal. There's so much happening in that area in general. Can you tell us a little bit about the future there?
I can. Fabulous cities, absolutely beautiful. Kingston is sort of the Kingston, Brockville, Cornwall, heart of the Thousand Islands, waterfront, lots of green space. Students looking to get out of the big city, and I get to say this because I grew up in Scarborough. I went to high school in Scarborough, and so I got the opportunity to move out of town due to work and have never looked back. I love Toronto, but really, students coming to our cities rarely leave, unless they're going international. We host 6,500 full-time students across our 3 main campuses. So given that the numbers are spread out as they are, we offer really small class sizes, great relationships. Our faculty know our students, they all know them on a first name basis. They're in clubs, after hours activities, it's a really warm, friendly environment. So our 6,500 full-time students come from right across Canada, as well as 40 other countries in the world. Our director was given an international award for his advancement of international education, both internationally and for bringing international students to Canada. The beauty of that is our students are working with other students from 40 other countries in the world at this point and looking for more. We all know that international experience is valuable. Some of our own students, your students, will have opportunity because of the relationships we've built to do placement or semesters abroad. Australia, England, Ireland. I could go on for 10 minutes about the places that we have articulation agreements with and placement opportunities. Recently, we have over 80 full-time programs, most of them award-winning. Recently, our aesthetics students took gold and silver at the Ontario Skills Competition. If they did, as our previous students have done, and go on and take the national awards and the world championships, that will be 5 years running for that competition that we have the award-winning world award winners. Our business students, we have a group called Enactus. It's an international group. We took many top awards at the competitions in New York State. So again, these students are competing in New York. One young lady walked away with a job offer from the competition. So the opportunities are endless. St. Lawrence is known for our Center of Excellence in Sustainability. We absolutely walk the talk. We have the most solar panels of any institution in Canada. And what that means is our energy systems engineering system students get to work on the largest solar array there is within reach. Some of our wind turbine students, actually all of our current wind turbine students get to work during their program at the Wolf Island Wind Farms. One of our grads went to Barbados, and in his first 6 months there, bought a house for himself and his family, and in his second 6 months there, bought a house for his parents so they could come. Fabulous programs. We have 4 opportunities for workplace level students. We have a hairstyling program, a carpentry program, welding, and culinary chef skills. With the culinary chef skills, they're successful, they go on to the second year of the culinary management program. We have 3 degree offerings, a Bachelor of Behavioral Psychology, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and a Bachelor of Business Administration. For students who haven't studied at the workplace or at the university level, they can enter our BBA program by doing one of our business diploma programs. We have 4 offerings. With good marks, in 5.5 years, they can have a diploma and a degree. They're pretty valuable to the employer that way. Our hidden gem at St. Lawrence is an opportunity for students in business, hospitality, music theater, graphic design, and culinary. They can do 6 months at Disney. They pick up Florida State University credits, work and live on Disney campus.
Wow.
If you have questions, we'll be happy to answer them at the table
Well,
later.
that's a good point. Thank you, Robin. Actually, we do have microphones set up in the audience. There's one over here, if you can see it, and one over on this side. We are going to be taking questions. You've heard now from 5 very exciting colleges and what they're doing. We would like to take this opportunity to start with some questions that you might have about any of the specific colleges or the things you've heard so far this morning. Any takers on that? Any questions? Oh, hi. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? You give me a
Fine.
mic and I'm going to go crazy here. This is a question concerning our colleges that require kids to write an assessment test before they get into it. And I don't mean to single out Algonquin, but I come from a rural school, so I don't have access to a college for them to write that test. I know in the past, I've talked to your registered office, and they actually insist that they write that test at another college. Are we working towards maybe having schools administer that test because it's an online test?
Yes, there is movement towards having the guidance department work as a facilitator for the test to act as a proctor. We do realize that it is inconvenient at this time, and usually when there are situations that are out of your control, such as being in a rural area, oftentimes there will be facilitation met with that. So speaking with the registrar's office is a very good point. Be in touch with them, communicate what your situation is, and in the next year or so, we'll see it being a little bit more of a flexible assessment schedule.
Perfect. And another question for everybody else, because this was directed towards Algonquin, sorry. Concerning oversubscribed programs, and I know there are specific prerequisites for those programs, and a lot of times I'm seeing whenever we are timetabling kids for those certain prerequisites, if they do not have that completed in semester 1, I'm noticing that they are not getting considered for that program because by the time the equal consideration date comes along in February, all those offers are filled up for those oversubscribed programs. So I'm noticing that kids really are being left behind because they haven't got that prerequisite course semester 1.
We are also in the process and have this past year, as long as students have that grade 11 program, the course, they are considered, that's taken into consideration for ranking purposes. And then with proof of registration for the prerequisite, we do look at their overall average at the midterm to give them a conditional offer of admission. So I'm not sure exactly, they should not be out of the running at this time.
I'm noticing this is for everybody on the panel too, and everybody else, all the other colleges too, maybe want to address this too. Specific, I'm looking at their nursing program, their PRN program, because I know there's a prerequisite that is the college chemistry, and I'm noticing that kids who do not have that semester 1, they're not getting offers because they're waiting for midterm marks, and by the time those come in, all those spots have filled up. That was my specific question. I know that one program, that's the one that is the college chemistry.
Sure. So at Durham College, like Algonquin, we would use a grade 11 mark in particular. However, if they don't have the grade 12 during that time, what we would do so they are at least considered in the mix of ranking is we would issue them at least a mark of 50% because they're enrolled in that class. So it is not discounting them. It's just giving them a placeholder so they're not ignored at all as we look at their other bio and let's say math and English. So they are looked at overall.
At Fleming, we would look at the grade 11 mark, but then so long as we have proof of enrollment in grade 12, then they're not discounted from the competition pool, even if they don't have the credit yet.
Okay, well the thing is there is no grade 11 college chemistry, there's only a grade 12 college chemistry. So that's the issue. There's a grade 11 college biology, but it's the chemistry that's a prerequisite, which is only offered in grade 12.
I mean, I can tell you for Loyalists at this particular point in time, it's been brought to us by our own local guidance counselors that this is very much a concern. So I don't have an answer for you right now because we're reviewing our processes in terms of how we handle oversubscribed programs, specifically nursing, because it is a big one. Everybody's kind of doing it a little bit differently, and right now we're in the process of trying to figure out the most equitable, fair way to do this. So our processes are under review at Loyalists, and this event has been lovely because it's giving me the opportunity to take back your concerns to them as they begin this process. So right now, I'm in a holding pattern at Loyalists, and I would encourage you to, over the course of the next few weeks while we're figuring that out, we'll have that information posted up on our website as a general rule within, the nursing program, because for us that, much like my colleagues, is probably the most oversubscribed program ever.
At St. Lawrence, we do it a little bit differently. There are 3 prerequisites, and as long as your students have 2, we will take the average of those 2, use that number as a placeholder for the one they're missing. So what they'll get is a conditional offer, proceed, and then submit proof of that credit later. You're welcome.
Good morning. This question is for Durham. It says in your paramedic program that the student would have to, the average is 106%. Can you tell us how they arrive at 106%?
Oh, you noticed that, did you? Okay. That's not a
by
misprint. It's just with the weighted averages. So at Durham College, we consider C, M, and U level all equal at par, but grade 12 classes get a 1.17 bonus mark. So really their core...
At the college or the university level?
They're all equal at Durham College.
Okay.
So let's say for their overall average, raw score, if a student were to call me and say, Trevor, what do I need to have to get accepted to paramedic? I would tell them, not the weighted factor because then they get confused, but I would tell them that basically the raw score that they need is around a 91% to be admitted to that program.
Okay.
So that's how it's possible.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, this is a question for Durham College. We're always looking for programming for our workplace area students, and we find that in Toronto there's not very much there. I noticed in yours that you don't mention any programs at all. Is there anything coming in the future that we can look to for our students?
That's a good question. Nothing that I've been made aware from as far as the president mentioning anything. We do have a community integration through cooperative education, but that's for a unique niche group of students. So for those particular students, we're not necessarily looking at the workplace, but more along the lines of they could be considered for the CICE program with simply having an OSSC. All right, but nothing at this point for the workplace.
Are you waiting to ask a question on this side? No? Are you that thorough? Anybody else have any questions for our panel? Sure, absolutely.
At Algonquin, we don't have any formal workplace certifications. That being said, there are a number of programs that are open to students who are in workplace level high school credit classes. Based on that, they would just need to complete an assessment. So it's best to be in touch with the coordinator of a specific program that students might be looking at to put into place a plan to get that assessment done so that, again, there's a lot of open doors there.
Okay. I think, oh no, welcome back.
Hi. I guess I need a seat up there. Question, are we sort of looking at, oh, I'm on television too, residence information, applying for residence? Because a lot of time whenever kids apply, they're making 5 choices, obviously, and then the residence due date comes up very, very early, and I'm finding parents stressed out about the fact they're applying to 5 different residences. Are we looking at maybe pushing that back a little later? Why are we doing that so early?
Residents, at least I can speak on behalf of Durham College, that's something that we want to partner with. However, it is a separate organization unto itself. So it has its own due dates and business plans of how they work with their incoming student bodies. So again, it is a strategy that we want to try to build and make sure that it's a little bit overall seamless, because I do understand from a student or parent's perspective, they're looking at an institution as a whole and assuming that that's the entirety. So definitely that's something that over the years doesn't always jive. So it is a process that we do have to create a more seamless evaluation on connecting those students to making sure that step 1, step 2, step 3, it makes sense to them instead of having 2 disjointed processes. So.
In terms of Loyalist, students don't actually have to accept into any of the Loyalist College programs when they're given an offer to go ahead and apply to residence. It's part of the package. As soon as they receive an offer, they can apply to residence. And there's no wait time. And when and if they choose to go to another institution, it's a matter of just giving us a call and a heads up, and we'll release that room to another individual. But we don't, it's from the time they have that offer, it's available for them to do it. I recommend to students, because of that policy, go ahead and apply to Loyalist College residents. Better to be on the list than find you're on a wait list. And you know, at that point, we have both first year and second year residences. They're right on campus. They're a 2-minute walk. So it's very available, and we make it as easy as possible for them, and that's how we handle it at Loyalist.
At St. Lawrence, students are not able to apply for residence until they've confirmed their offer, so I don't think we fit into that situation.
At Fleming, the deadline application date for residence is before the confirmation date, but much like Loyalist, as soon as they get an offer on February 1st, then they can go ahead and apply for residence.
I also just wanted to mention something, that first-year students are guaranteed into Durham College's residence. So even if they were to miss a date, they're still going to have a room. So we do have that space, and it is a guarantee for first-year students.
Similar to Durham, our residence is a separate entity on campus, and students, it's not necessary for them to apply before that May 1st confirmation deadline, but with it being a first-come, first-serve, if Algonquin is a viable option, if they have their heart set on it, is best policy to put in that application and put down that deposit. If the situation arises that they are changing their mind, we give them a full refund on that deposit.
Yes, you have a question?
I have a question perhaps, but maybe something more for the colleges to think about. I am the SHSM coordinator at our school, and I don't know how much the college folks know about what goes into that program, but it is extremely heavy workload for anyone trying to manage that program at a high school level. And one of the things I'm hearing is that you guys are very interested in your grad rate, that the ministry, the province in general, is very interested in students getting a lot more applied learning. So what happens is we get students enrolling in the Specialist High Skills Majors program. It's a 2-year program, and by grade 12, it's quite easy to have lost half the kids enrolled in that program. So I would put forward to you folks that those kids that actually made it through the 2 years, jumped through all those hoops, are some kids that you maybe should look at in particular, because they're the ones that have shown the commitment, the dedication to doing this. After 2 years, like I said, we lose about half of them. They're college students, they're university students, but if they've made it through, those are the kids that are going to increase your grad rates. Those are the kids that are going to have some of the applied experience. And I know that St. Lawrence, in particular, actually gives kids a couple of credits when they've done that at the college level. So I'm just putting forward that maybe you might want to think about recognizing that a little more.
Thank you. Oh,
Any comments?
you are right in the sense. We don't use it for admission into the program. We do see its value definitely in student retention and then making more of an appropriate choice for their fit in selecting a particular college program. So definitely we see the value of it and we see it definitely in our statistics and our students to actually follow through with the program. As far as giving them additional advantages, I don't know if it'll come to looking at it for admission, or like maybe how St. Lawrence could potentially be giving them credit exemption in particular programs. I think that might be more of an appropriate strategy to go to than looking for admission. That might be difficult to evaluate as some schools may not have those opportunities, so that would be a definite challenge.
So we're going to go over to this microphone over here. You have a question, sir?
We do hear that a lot of college students are going to the universities and a lot of university students are going to college. Do you keep any statistics with those numbers? In other words, how many students do you have in each college with a university degree?
I absolutely do not have that stat on hand. I think the question was how many students do we have on campus who have a university degree. Our grad certificate programs are growing at an enormous rate. So that being said, that goes to show that we do have a lot of students on campus who do have previous diplomas or degrees, and they're coming back to college to get that hands-on experience to help amplify the education that they already have. But as for an exact stat, I'm sorry, I could get back to you with that. But we do see that our non-direct applicant base, so that would be any students not from high school, is about 60% at Algonquin.
Something interesting. I don't have the exact stat on how many are university grads. What I can tell you is that across the system, about 30% of the students in college have been to university. We estimate that at St. Lawrence, 10% of the university students who come our way have already graduated. And again, post-grad programs are growing enormously.
At Sheridan, I know that we have 1,200 students in postgraduate programs. So these are students that are university grads already. That just represents the post-diploma programs. There are actually university graduates in our 2-year diploma, undergraduate diploma programs as well. It seems to be a growing trend. I see them every year. They graduate from university, then they come to the college system.
Loyalist is very much the same. It's many of my colleagues will say probably half of our student populations, or slightly more than half of our population, are not students coming from high school, but are coming from other paths, university, second career, coming back for retraining a variety of different ways. At Loyalist, there's not only the postgraduates, but we have a lot of accelerated programs, so giving credit for past work and life, as well as educational experience that gives them the opportunity to, in some cases, skip an entire semester, or in some cases a year, depending upon on, you know, that background of who they are and what they've done in the past. So there's a huge number of students in the college system across the board that are, you know, not direct from high school at this point.
Just anecdotally, just to let you know, employers seem to be very enamored as well, at least in my industry. I think it's probably happening in many others. You know, they're very enamored with the student that comes to them, the graduate that comes to them that already has the university degree, but gets the actual applied learning experience at the college level. And these grads do very, very well because there seems to be something missing. If they just have the university degree, it seems to be a harder transition to them, especially in something like journalism or anything that requires a skill set that they need to learn at the college level that they are not necessarily getting in university. So that combination has been very powerful for us in terms of the program that I'm involved in. The employers are thrilled, and then the opposite as well. So if it's just a college degree, maybe they need the university degree as well. There's a lot of that happening, I think, in industry. Next question over here. Would you like to ask your question?
I'm just hoping that St. Lawrence can clarify, do you give credits for students that have completed SHSMs? Blanket across the board, or is that just...
It is based on the specific SHSM and what they're going into at St. Lawrence. So an appropriate match, in our mechanical technicians program, we will give credit for the math that they've done in the SHSM. If you look at our career guide or on our website, at each program specifically, it will outline the details.
Hi there. I'd like to go back to a couple points that have been raised earlier, and just more to make comments than questions perhaps. The first has to do with the specialist high skills major programs that were mentioned earlier. University and colleges do base their admissions basically on credentials that students have, and I understand why you do that. I believe, though, that in terms of success at universities and colleges, really what you'd want to do is base your admission decisions on character more so than just credentials, because it is the students of strong character that are more likely to survive and thrive in the programs. And the SHSM programs, I think you've evaluated them and said, really, this doesn't give them a whole lot of extra credentials that would make it worthwhile giving them extra credit, and I kind of agree with that. But going back to what I just said about character, I believe those students that are graduating with SHSM, they have jumped through a whole lot of extra hoops, and it speaks very loudly of their character. And that's why I think it would be a good idea to give the specialist high skills major more weight than you're presently giving it. My next point is just back to the courses, the oversubscribed programs, and the fact that students that haven't taken courses in the first semester may find themselves out of the running. And that's frustrated me as a guidance counselor, because I deal with students like that every year, that they just can't get in because they haven't taken the course. And I think as a group of high schools, there's nothing we can do about it in terms of making sure that we have all of our courses first semester, because that would put us out of balance, et cetera, in our scheduling. So I'd just like to, again, put it out to the colleges. I don't know how you can work together. I understand that it's competitive. You want to get the offers out as soon as you can. But when I look long-term at what is a fair solution, if you could choose, we're going to put all our offers out for nursing on May 1st and go with midterms in terms of a way to make it fair for everyone and for the students at high school. That could be a long-term solution to the problem.
Anybody want to comment?
Thank you for that suggestion. I think we'll all be going back and taking your feedback and seeing what we can do with it.
We have a question over here as well.
With regard to the application process then and the number of university grads or the university or kids coming in with university credits, with regard to your assessment of applicants, are those kids then at an advantage which would possibly put high school grads at a disadvantage, or do you have a certain number of spots set aside for high school grads and a certain number of spots set aside for kids who've been out of high school for a while?
That's a tough question, and it depends what we're looking at. High school students are not eligible for the post-grad programs, so we are seeing a good number of the university grads going that direction. Other students who have gone into the university system and not graduated and then are moving into the college system, we're still working with, primarily, their high school marks, unless they've done better. If there's a math, English, and chemistry, we're going to take their best of those three. They may not have taken bio and chem in university. They may have gone on to a program that didn't require it, so we're still going back to their high school diploma. So I don't think it is making a difference.
I would agree with that. I mean, oftentimes, I've talked to many students who have a university background, whether they were successful or not successful, but after the completion of, or not completion, of the degree that they were in, they've completely chosen a separate path. So their degree actually has no validity in terms of the actual application process, and we're going back to high school. And it does happen relatively regularly, even if they have a diploma or a degree from another institution. Unless it's a postgraduate, we still ask for their high school transcripts regardless of, so that's our primary that we're looking at. Now, that doesn't mean that those students coming in can't have possible exemptions and have some credit given to them. That's sort of a process that happens after as opposed to before. Postgraduates obviously are a slightly separate situation, again with advanced standing for us as well. Separate situation because they're not necessarily entering the first year.
So at Fleming, if, for example, our paramedic program, we're seeing an increased number of applicants coming with a university degree. So what we do is we look at percentage-wise how many of the applicants only have a high school diploma and how many have a high school diploma and a university degree, and we assign seats accordingly so that they are in their own independent competition pools. So if a student comes in for paramedic in particular, or any other oversubscribed program, and they have a relevant university degree, but they did better in high school, they're still competing with their, they will be competing in the pool that best advantages them to get into the program.
It's always interesting to look at the assumptions that college graduates have or university graduates when then finally identifying their perfect fit of their career. And they apply to these programs, oversubscribed, academically competitive programs, and they assume that because they have a completed degree or diploma that they should be a shoo-in for programs. And that's not always the case. I know this is kind of on a tangent to what you're originally asking, but it's just the assumption of, well, I have a degree, you should consider me and I should be admitted. But like Greta said, we have specific outlines of admission criteria that they need to meet. And so that's why looking at the full spectrum of those students' grades, of the admission requirements in particular, we look at just those marks. And so there's no cohort or set aside seats for any particular student. It's grades only. You perform academically. Obviously that doesn't hit your point as far as looking at all the character aspects, but with limited seats and over thousands of applications for even one program, it's perform academically. So regardless if it's high school or university or college, I have high school students meeting that 91% for paramedic. Though rigorous, they do it and they're admitted. University students have to perform the same.
The same goes for Algonquin. We do really base it on whatever the best grade point average is for the specific prerequisites. Similar to Fleming, our paramedic program, we tend to see a more mature student in that program because of some of the non-academic admission requirements. We do require that students have their F-class license by the time they have registered, or by the time they start the program, which is very, very hard, as we know with the graduated licensing system here in Ontario, for students coming out of high school to have that F-class license. So that's why we are seeing, again, a more mature student in the paramedic program, and there is a level of maturity as well that is needed for such a program as the paramedic.
Hi.
I'm really sorry. I'm going to be done in about 5 minutes here.
What's his name? What's your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Kevin Reynolds.
He should introduce himself, and
yes,
we should
I
record
guess I
him
should.
and then just cycle it through later on, and then we're good. We're good.
That was a good point you were bringing about with the paramedics. Is there any way that maybe we can get some data from you guys of the number of entrants or the people that go into that program that have a university degree as opposed to a high school diploma, so that we can make a better choice as far as counseling kids if they should be going into that program with a high school diploma as opposed to a degree? Like that's information that's really valuable for us, so they have an idea.
Obviously, having a strategy for every student that you deal with is rigorous and challenging, so because it's individualized for every single student. Obviously, you want to have backups, and so the General Arts and Science Health Prep program at all institutions are, again, just an additional backup. I would say for, and I can only speak on behalf of of the paramedic program at Durham College, that it would be around, as a percentage of college students either completing that pre-health program or university students that have had phenomenal marks in biochem, math, and English in university or in high school. It would probably be around a 90% of those students with post-secondary background being admitted in reference to the paramedic program. So is that the same for, no?
Okay. So Loyalist Paramedic Program is different than everybody else's, and I make this note right now. We absolutely do accept high school students into it if they meet the requirements, although much like my colleagues, it's difficult to meet those requirements right out of high school. But Loyalist Program is delivered evenings and weekends on a part-time basis, and it's 2 years. So ours is run differently. So for us, the majority of our students are people who are retraining, people who are going into a different career. Primarily, they're a quote-unquote more mature student, and it's because our delivery is set up specifically for individuals who do have families, who do have career responsibilities, bills to pay, much like the rest of us. So ultimately, ours runs evenings and weekends. So we are definitely falling that much heavier towards the mature and less, although occasionally we do have the high school student come into the program.
At St. Lawrence, we do have some high school students who've come in. They're typically the students who have taken a year off and gone back and finished their high school. They've done a victory lap, maybe 2 victory laps. It's because of the, well, I was one of those students, just saying. So they are more mature. In terms of exact numbers, how many have other post-secondary ed, I don't have that data, sorry.
For us, we're still looking predominantly at high school students, but we're seeing an increased number of university graduates, but also students that are coming in, as Trevor said, from our alternate offer. If they don't get into the paramedic program, which is a 1-year general arts and science college health science option. But we're seeing, as time goes by, we're seeing, as everybody else has noted, a more mature student coming into the paramedic program because of how difficult the program is, but also once they graduate, what they will be dealing with, when they're coming out of school at 20, are they emotionally prepared to deal with what they will see at the workplace?
With Algonquin as well, in our view book, we are looking to have added language in. So if it is a more mature student that typically gets into the program based on those prerequisites and those non-academic admission requirements, that we give them a suggestion to have that plan B in place. We do offer alternate offers of admissions into some of the general arts and science programs, but our general arts and science, health sciences, pre-nursing, those typically fill up very quickly. So if a student is to have that plan B in place upon the application time, they have a better chance of making that seamless transition. So we're looking to improve our language in the view book to add prompts for guidance counselors as well.
Just one thing I want to add on the Plan B. I know for Loyalist and for a number of my colleagues that I've had the opportunity to speak with over the last couple of dialogues, for us, nursing is a very oversubscribed program, and we've offered alternate offers in the past. But something to let you all know, pre-health is becoming its own choice. So people are applying directly to pre-health. They're not applying to nursing, they're applying directly to pre-health, and it's filling up very, very quickly, and it's becoming oversubscribed all on its own. So the alternate offers are there. Certainly most of us do them, or variations of, but just to let your students know, if they're concerned, choosing pre-health as one of their options is probably a wise decision. I know at Loyalist, it's very, very popular all on its own, whether they choose to go into nursing or another medical, avenue. It's very popular at this point.
Also, just to reference the fundamental programs, those one-year certificate programs, i.e. General Arts and Science pre-health is that, but at least with our institution, we also have those 1 year ingrained within inside that school. For example, Emergency Services Fundamentals program, which kills two birds with one stone. It allows them to upgrade with those required marks, as well as it provides them credit exemption. So it provides them two of those benefits, that once they do get accepted, they lighten their course load, as well as use those upgrading opportunities within those unique fundamental programs. So science technology has a fundamentals programs, trade programs has a trade fundamentals program, and so many institutions are ingraining those fundamental programs within inside their individual school pockets.
Algonquin and Loyalist, you answered that question about the Plan B. But, so our Plan B was always pre-health. There's a demand out there. We're talking about supply and demand. We're all business people, and your colleges are business. But I'm just wondering if you can consider something that might be a pre-health program to get the kids in there. My second idea was that I know we talk about the your minimum weighted, Trevor from Durham, OSAP has an aid estimators. Kids can go on and see how much. I'm just wondering if you talk to your webmasters, your admissions people, and see if you can plug up the criteria for the score for a student, let them plug in their information, and that might give them an idea of, oh, well, I could get an offer here as they're evaluating your colleges. So that might be an idea for you.
I like that. I just want to make sure that logic is always 100% and doesn't mislead anybody, so they kind of understand that. It does become very granular in how we evaluate things, and so there's many components to putting that logic together, but I like that as kind of you go online for a mortgage, you can figure out what kind of mortgage you're going to get. This one might be a good strategy as well, so good idea. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's brought forward, points that you want us to take back. For us, this is as much about giving, having the opportunity to talk to you as it is being able to take things back. So thank you for coming to the table and bringing those suggestions. We appreciate them, and we'll certainly be taking them back.